Hello and welcome to Seismic Cinema. And because of our recent low viewing figures, because everyone's out enjoying the sunshine, we've decided to focus on comedy today.
Because our show is just full of laughs and nobody's there to see it.
That's true. Right, so I'm joined as always by Paul, but we've also got a guest making their debut on the channel, a friend of myself and Paul, but also a colleague of mine as well, and a former pupil of mine before he turned to evil.
Yes, I turned to the dark side.
Okay, Blair, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, for those who don't know me, my name's Blair. I work with Colin, as he said, and I also do music, which some people watching might know me from. Don't want to big myself up too much. Slight prominent figure in the local town. But I do music. I've got some kind of music released on Spotify and currently working on my debut album. So hoping to have that released by the end of this year. But COVID has really put a massive spanner in the works there. So still struggling to get into studios and things. But yeah, no, it's good. I enjoy it.
And is it true, Blair, that you've been referred to as the next Paolo Nutini?
I have, yes, once, and I've coasted on that comment for the past 2 years of my life. But yeah, I will never let that go.
So yeah, real celeb on.
I'm trying to think of a good Paolo Nutini related joke. Like, I hope his rankings are coming up easy.
Hope these rankings are sweet like candy.
I hope you get a pencil full of lead, Blair, to make loads of notes.
Oh, I like that one.
Right, let's get on with it.
Make some money so we can get some new shoes.
Let's get on with the. Let's nip that in the bud and get on with the ranking. So this week we are going to rank our favorite comedy movies, and there isn't really much to add apart from that. So let's get into it. So Blair, the guest policy is the I was going to say the Blair goes first. The guest goes first. So okay. What's your number 10?
So number 10 for me is a slightly out of the box film. When I thought about comedies, it wasn't the first one that popped into my head, but after I started writing my list and then kind of like looking back on movies, I wondered why it hadn't popped in sooner. The only reason it's not further up in the list is because from when it came out to now, it could be considered quite distasteful.
I know what this is. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Borat?
No, it's not Borat.
I was going to say Blazing Saddles.
It's so much worse. No, it's not a traditional film style either. Like, it doesn't have live action. It's puppets, and I'm assuming from that you may be able to guess what it is. No,
I'll let you tell us.
I was going to say Muppets.
No, it's Team America: World Police.
Oh God, yeah. Good choices.
Yeah, probably a film that would, if it was released in 2022, would absolutely get everybody involved cancelled. But I every time I watch it, I'm laughing, and it's just it's a good rewatch. I think there's some scenes in it which are just yeah. This was my number 10 spot.
See, for someone that's not seen it, can you even just give a brief overview of what it's about? If you can.
No, we cannot.
It's like a spoof. It's almost like a spoof of Thunderbirds. Like, it's like, what if Thunderbirds was just all about America and freedom,
patriotism, guns, terrorism.
Honestly, it's just. It's like, I'm trying to think, if you could make Thunderbirds as offensive as possible, you would probably get Team America: World Police.
Never heard of it.
That's the ones where the Screen Actors Guild are the bad guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, Matt Damon.
Yeah, that's the one. That's my favorite line in the whole film. It's literally, they just have this running joke whenever like Matt Damon's on screen, because they have this like section of actors. The only thing that Matt Damon says in the entire film is, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Did you two just become best friends?
Yes.
We did.
Right, Paul. I'm always intrigued to see what you've cooked up when it comes to our ranking. So, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is about two guys that get community service and they basically have to look after a couple of kids, I think.
You're telling the story.
I went for Role Models.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that, yeah.
Love Paul Rudd.
Is that Paul Rudd, yeah?
Paul Rudd and Sean William Scott, aka Stifler, aka Blair. Yeah, so I think they get community service because Paul Rudd just gets sick of life. I think he gets dumped and he runs like his monster truck up a statue or something. And then they need to do a community payback and look after a couple of kids in this kind of, I can't remember, what is that, a program or something? I can't remember what it is.
All I remember of that film is is it like medieval reenactments?
Oh, they do LARPing, live action roleplay.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they kind of bond over it and help each other out, and they make up their own kind of wee country called Kiss My Anthea, and they dress up as the characters from Kiss. Have you seen it, Blair?
No, actually, that's like one of the only Paul Rudd films I think I've not seen, so that's getting added to the list.
That always happens to me when we do podcasts. It's always the things you haven't seen that people bring up.
I know.
Yeah, it's so funny. We've got so many comedy actors in it, and the wee kids are great. One wee kid just swears the whole way through it, and McLovin's in it as well.
Oh, iconic.
McLovin.
It was between that or Muhammad.
So yeah, my number 10 was Role Models.
Okay, right. I wiggled my 10 and 9s about a wee bit as I usually end up doing, but my number 10 is a movie that features one of my favorite actors. It is really funny. It's a great cast. It's quite motivational, and it's, I think, quite underrated. And it features a large brick wall. And my number 10 is Run Fat Boy Run.
Ah, nice.
Starring Simon Pegg and a few other well-known actors.
That's the story, man. Run Fat Boy Run.
It's one of those ones that you maybe don't watch it that often compared to other Simon Pegg films, but anytime I do watch it, I'm like, this film's great.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's got I'm trying to remember who's in it. It's Hank Azaria's in it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the bad American.
He's the one that's like engaged to his ex-wife, who is Val out of Rogue One Solo. Thandie Newton.
I know you mean that.
Yeah.
And who else is in it? There's his neighbor that's his coach.
The guy from Eternals.
Aye. He's really good. So yeah, I really like that film. I don't think I originally had it in my top 10, but when I reviewed my list of ideas, I felt like I really wanted to put it in there.
I think the only thing I remember from that, like not the only thing, but the one thing that sticks out in my brain is the scene where he has the blister on the bottom of his foot and he doesn't have anything to pop it with and he gets a rusty nail. And I just remember like not being able to watch that scene for ages because it just grossed me out.
Yeah. No, I did remember that scene. So yeah, I went for Run Fat Boy Run as number 10.
Nice.
So Blair, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is, I would consider, a classic comedy film. It has probably one of the most famous comedy actors of all time, and just when it came out, it was really, really popular. It's still really popular today, and if you were going to bring up comedy films, this would be probably one of the ones that people would think of. I have gone with number 9 as Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Nice.
The good old classic.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good film. Like you just like, it's Jim Carrey. I wouldn't say at his best. I feel like he's at his best in another film, which I'm not gonna say because
I know what it is.
yeah, it may or may not be further up my list. But yeah, I really like him in this film, and I think
Is
it's just...
it Sonic the Hedgehog too?
Oh no, 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 no,
I've not
absolutely
seen either of Sonics.
not.
Well, actually not that bad, but yeah.
I think the first one's great. I haven't seen the second one yet, so I
No.
can't actually comment on whether it's good or not. But yeah, no, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. It's a great film. I always laugh when I watch it, even though I know what's coming. And I feel like that's great for a comedy film. Like rewatchability, I think, is what's gone into a lot of my ranking. How many times I can watch it and not get sick of it.
And comedies are all about comfort watching, so
Yeah.
things you would throw on if you're relaxing or get friends over, that kind of thing. So,
Absolutely.
Paul, you're number 9.
My number 9.
Leave the dog alone.
Sorry, Norman's just gate crashed. Hello, buddy. So my number 9, I went for the classic Superbad.
Nice.
There's McLovin has now appeared twice in your list.
This is just a top 10 of McLovin.
Paul, I'm loving it.
Get out.
Get out. That was our previous podcast.
Hey, we linked it back. I say we, you guys did all the work there. But
yeah, it's just a classic, isn't it? Like when we were all growing up, that was like one of the main films to watch.
There's a lot younger than us, Paul. You need to remember that.
Let's talk about me and you. Jonah Hill, Blood on Legs. It's just the greatest. McLovin, yeah.
Gold Slick Vodka.
Oh,
I bought that once just because of that film.
Was it Goldschlager? No, was it Goldschlager?
It was just like vodka, like gold.
Mine Smirnoff did it for a while here. It was like Smirnoff Gold, had to be gold flecks in it.
I bought it once.
It wasn't very nice. So
Emma Stone, who was in our favourite actresses ranking way back in the day.
Yeah. Who'd have thought she would go on to bang her head in that power station?
Spoilers.
I didn't say what movie.
That's still very raw, Paul. Right, so Paul's number 9 was Superbad. Number 9 for me, don't know if you've seen this. It's a movie that features some really famous actors. It is like the opposite of like a coming of age film. It's like old people reliving their youth, going on a trip to Vegas for one of their friends' weddings. I went for Las Vegas.
Oh, I've not seen that. This is like...
Yeah, it's Morgan and Robert De Niro. It's a great film.
I went to see it.
I've heard about it.
Have you seen it, Paul?
Yeah, I went to see it with you in the cinema with the boys.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to want it.
We've actually got a group chat in our old messengers called Las Vegas.
I do. That actually rings a bell. Who else went? Was Neil Fay in that, or just made that up?
I think it was Neil and maybe Mikey.
Right. Yeah, I just loved it. It was that twist on a concept where it's instead of like a group of teenagers going abroad, it was the 4 old friends going to the wedding of one of the guys. Was it Michael Douglas?
I think so. I think he was the one getting married, and he on you.
To a real young thing, but they're just going out clubbing in Vegas, and it's just hilarious. But it also is really quite heartfelt about the relationship between them and like growing old and different things. So yeah, it's a film I really enjoyed, and I think it does have that rewatchability.
Yeah, is that the one that falls in love with like the woman at Step Brothers?
Yeah, she's like singing at a club.
Yeah.
And because he's got a even younger wife than that, but then he ends up falling for her. Sorry, Blair, you've not seen this, but I would definitely recommend checking out Las Vegas. As I said, it's Morgan Freeman, Robert De Niro, Michael Douglas, and one other guy who I've forgotten, but it's really good.
Kevin Kline.
Maybe, yeah, because Morgan Freeman's character is also quite ill, and he's not really supposed to go out partying, so that's a big part of the film as well. So, Blair, number 8.
Number 8 for me, I would probably again say this is another classic. I used to watch this. We used to have a video cassette player And
Whoa, one of those things.
one of those things, and this was one of the 4 movies that we had on video that I would watch constantly. So there was one point in my life where I literally knew this film line for line, and I'm very glad it was this film, because this is a great film. It's a film about a dad who is kind of losing touch with his kids, so he decides, well, he's getting a divorce from his wife, he's losing touch with his kids, he decides to moonlight as a nanny, and then tries to be more involved in their lives. It's Mrs. Doubtfire is my number 8. It's such a good film. I really love Robin Williams in it. Very heartfelt story about a dad trying to reconnect with his kids. But yeah.
And he sounds like just one of us.
What?
He sounds like one of us.
I feel
he
like
he sounds like one of us.
Sounds like one of us.
Sounds like one
His
of us.
accent.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I was very confused there. I thought you were trying to make a joke, like Colin sounds like Robin Williams. But, yeah.
I was a bit confused as well, to be fair. So there's number 8, Mrs. Doubtfire. Again, obviously I've seen it back in the 90s. I haven't actually watched it in years. It might be worth rewatching at some point.
No, that's a good one.
Paul, what's your number 8? Norman, be quiet, please.
Yes. Well, going on from your Las Vegas, I'm going to go for Step Brothers.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice segue.
It's just a classic, isn't it? John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell, got a great chemistry. Adam Scott's just the big brother who's just bam. And the parents are so good in it, just tearing their hair out, trying to figure out how these two with brains of like 5-year-olds try to get them to go along.
I still think the bunk bed scene is just one of the funniest scenes in a comedy movie. It went wrong so fast.
I always quote that scene when I rearrange my classroom. I'm like, so much more room for activities.
That's great.
All I can remember is Shark Week, balls on drums, and a Catalina wine mixer.
No, it's a very quotable film. I used to have a job, like when I worked back in the 51st state, I worked with a guy called Dean, and literally our entire shifts were just quoting stuff from Step Brothers to each other and like shouting at each other from across the kitchen, like, "Did you touch my drum set?"
I think the best when they're doing their job interviews and they're like dressed as magicians and stuff.
Yeah,
messing them all up.
Me and there was a job going recently, and me and one of my colleagues we're both quite interested in it, but we actually thought it'd be better done as a pair, and we were joking obviously, but we were quite serious about the joke that we were going to turn up and ask to be interviewed as a team.
But did you dress as magicians?
Yes. Yeah, if they had said yes, you would have had to go dressed as magicians.
We didn't go for it in the end, but it was a thought. Right, my number 8 is a film I just really, really enjoy. I think it's got a really good soundtrack, a really good double act, a really interesting concept. It's got a scene that is a Harry Potter parody. It's quite a heartwarming film about a group of outcasts who come together to try and achieve success and ultimately earn a job at Google. My number 8 is The Internship.
Oh, I've heard a lot about that. I've never seen it. Is that the one with Owen Wilson?
It's Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. They lose their jobs. They're watch salesmen, and the industry's collapsing. And he basically just goes on Google, and then it like reflects, and he's like, right, I'm gonna. And then he finds out that they've got internships going at Google, and then they go and they have to go through a series of challenges along with another group of outsiders to try and get a job, and it's really funny. Like,
yeah, because they're dinosaurs, aren't they? They're so not tech savvy. It's unreal.
I quote it all the time in class. Like, they instead of saying online, they always say on the line, like putting it out there on the line. It's something I use quite a lot. I would definitely check it out if you haven't. I just and it's one of my go-to. It's good. It's one of I've got 3 DVDs in my cupboard at work where you can maybe show clips of them when you're doing a relevant topic, or say it's the last day or term or whatever. The internship's always one I show because it's got a lot about like corporate culture within a business and how they treat their staff, like the free food and the nap pods and different things. So it's quite a good case study as well from that respect. But hilarious. One of the opening scenes when they're singing "Ironic" by Alanis Morissette in the car at the traffic lights.
Mm-hmm. I take it you don't show the bit where they go to the nightclub and see the strippers in class.
No, I skipped that bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So that's my number 8. Number 7, Blair.
Number 7 is again another great film. It has an actor from earlier on in this list. I said he had better films, and this, in my opinion, is one of his best comedy films. It has a great cast. It's got a great story, and it's a lot of fun from start to finish. My number 7 is The Mask.
Nice.
Is a very good film. The sequels were really disappointing, which was frustrating because the first film was so good, and then the others just weren't, and it's really frustrating.
I've not seen that in so long. I remember we used to have on VHS back in the day, and I've not seen it since then, but I remember watching it, and
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Mental.
Somebody stop me. It always reminds me of Galway, Paul, because he went as the mask for your 21st, didn't he?
Was it my 21st? Was it Neil's 21st?
I think it was yours. Did you have the fancy dress?
God, it's so long ago, I cannot remember.
I think it was yours. I think it was yours because there's a picture in the bowling club.
Oh, is there? Okay then. Aye, my 21st then.
Yeah.
I was maybe a teeny weeny bit drunk. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, but it's great. Like the whole the conga with the police, and just the whole scene where the dog puts on the mask. It's just perfection.
I remember the character, but I don't really remember the film, if I'm honest.
I've
seen it again years ago.
It's good for rewatchability. You know, it's one of those ones that doesn't really get old, like even though you know what's coming.
What is the story again? Like, what is his deal? Like, why does he look?
So he's a banker, and he's just like really miserable, and he finds this mask which is Loki, the god of mischief. And basically whenever he puts it on, he turns into this alternative persona, which is like super confident, super like just over the top, zany, very cartoonish. And just like he falls in love with this club singer who's played by Cameron Diaz. And it's all about him. He robs a bank. He gets on the wrong side of it's either the mafia or the cartel. And just like the owners of this club, and it's this story about how, and obviously in the third act, classic, you know, villain gets a hold of the golden gun, in this case being the mask. And just like it's all the you know classic tropes in a film, and it just hits the nail on the head. It's great. I really like it.
Cool. Paul, number 7.
For number 7, I've gone for one with the Yaz flute, and that is Anchorman.
Nice.
Too low.
Hey, it's on my list, bud. Yeah, this is just another quotable film. It's just so like male chauvinistic. It's so funny. The characters are great. Paul Rudd, Steve Carell.
You know that 60% of the time it works every time.
What is that? Is that Sex? Was it called Sex Panther or something like
that? Yeah, you could actually buy that at one point. That aftershave.
I'm sure it smelled delightful. Probably smelled like pure diesel or something.
It's like a what was it? A turd covered in burnt bacon or something like that.
Burnt bacon. It could be better with that. But it's got so many good lines. Like it's the glass case of emotion. I'm stuck in a glass case of emotion. But yeah, it's just one of these films like it's just so daft. It's great. But you can imagine somebody being like that, like somebody that just reads the teleprompter without thinking about it, and just having all these crazy adventures. Anchorman 2, we'll not talk about that.
This is the thing, right? I know you said Anchorman was too low, Colin. For me, it didn't even break the top 10 solely because Anchorman 2 just ruined it for
Don't
me.
even associate them with each other.
But this is that, like, it just in my brain, it had already happened. I had gone in after Anchorman 1. I was super excited to see the second one, and then I watched it, and I was like, "What was that?"
I couldn't even bring myself to watch it a second time.
It's just
I can't remember anything from the second one.
I just remember being in an RV, and I was just like, "This is utter nonsense," and
Just,
like not even funny nonsense, just nonsense.
It was just off. It was just off from the get go. Like,
yeah.
Right, so that was number 7. Right, number 7 is something I ironically forgot to put on my favorite movie ranking, but I think I remembered it when I was doing it. It was, oh, should I put that on? It has a very interesting musical number. It has a trip to Hawaii where you run into your ex-partner. It has a great cast, including Jason Segel, Paul Rudd, Russell Brand, Mila Kunis.
Yep.
It is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, I totally forgot about that film.
That's what I did when I did the movie, the overall movie ranking. And
I
don't watch it that often, but anytime I do rewatch it, I'm like, this film's fantastic.
You sound like you're from London.
Russell Brand's character, you want to hate him, but he's just hilarious in that film as well.
Really funny. Oh.
So I really like that film.
But still, thingy, what's his name that plays Jason Segel?
Mm-hmm.
He would never pull Mila Kunis or Kristen Bell ever.
Yeah,
it's just realistic. But anyway,
I mean, funny guys, if they're really funny, you never know.
I do love his puppet show, the Dracula musical that he makes.
His opera, yeah.
I wish I could remember. I wish I could remember how it goes. Right, so that was my number 7, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which I forgot when I did my movie one, and Blair forgot for this one. So Blair, number 6.
Number 6, I have a soft spot for this film because I was actually in a stage show of this film.
Can I guess?
Was the main character in a stage show of this film.
Does it School Rock?
Yeah. I really love it. Jack Black is brilliant in it. It's a classic. The music's great. The cast is great. It's just like it's a good film. Like I can't fault it.
It's such a good feel good film, isn't it?
It's brilliant. And just
because we rendition a song.
Oh, you put me on the spot there.
That's what guests are for.
I think my internet's going, boys. I can't.
Blair, can I just say, without buttering you up too much, that you yourself were fantastic in that as well. I
really enjoyed doing that. It was the first time I was a main character in a show, and it was a very, very big part, musically and acting wise. And it was great fun to do, especially the scene at the end. Like they made me, I still have it actually. I've got the blazer with like the School of Rock dragon emblem on the back. So cool. It was great.
Who did you play in it in the School of Rock one?
I was Jack Black. Like
you were Jack Black.
I was
nice.
the main. So it was great. I had a great time doing it.
Did you have to speak like Jack Black, or did you do it your own way?
I kind of did a little bit of a mix of both. I kind of like spoke mostly like me with an American accent, but also added in some of his craziness, especially during the singing. Like I feel like the School of Rock songs aren't the same if you don't add in a little bit of Jack Black pizzazz. So
shows.
I'll leave him
You're just
alone.
really trying to get me to sing, aren't you?
My mother was also very impressed with you, Blair. She commented on it when she came to the shows.
Ah, that's I'm always like really weird with taking compliments. I'm like, thank you so much, you too. But like, it's not you two because they weren't. And you know what I
You're
mean?
great.
Like,
You're great too. Right, we'll move on before Paul gets you to sing again. So, Paul, what's your
Hold
number
on,
6?
I need to say one more thing. Blair, you're amazing.
you too.
Paul, number 6.
No, me, is it? Oh, okay.
Yes, you.
All right,
Blair,
sorry.
Well, his instant reaction was no.
I'm the one that kind of keeps us on a path, essentially.
Right, okay. So my number 6, it's essentially a love story. It came out on, I think it was Valentine's Day one year, and it's
Shaun
just
of the
about.
Dead.
You kind of got half the name right. Deadpool.
Dawn of the Dead. That's not a
Deadpool.
comedy.
Deadpool. Okay.
Oh,
Action
yeah, no,
I think-
I agree that again, I didn't think of it just because it's so hard to think of movies that are just like known for being comedies.
Yeah, I just love like it breaks the fourth wall like every 2 seconds. Even from the get go, like it's like an opening action scene, and even like the opening credits are like a joke in itself. Like it's like written by lazy so and so, like directed by somebody that couldn't give a toss, blah, 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 things like that. And
Yeah, it's a meta film.
yeah, so really, it's such a good solid entry. I know people gave it criticism because like it was actually set in a very small kind of area. Like it was only a few scenes, kind of spread out. But like the jokes are so funny in it, and like, I could watch it over and over again, just watching it. Even in the middle of action, he's pulling jokes. He's killing people in funny ways. It's just a super funny movie. But essentially a love story because it came out on Valentine's Day, and that's the way I sold it.
I liked it when I saw it, but it isn't one that I ever have an urge to rewatch. Like I think I enjoyed it, but I don't maybe enjoy it as much as like maybe you did. But that's just
Yes. Have you seen Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
I really like them both.
Yeah.
I like a lot of people said to me that the sequel didn't really hold up, and I didn't see that. Like I thought the sequel was almost, but maybe not quite, but almost as strong as the first movie, and that's very rare to get something like that, especially like nowadays when they can't do
Yeah,
sequels.
I like Deadpool 2 as well. Like I thought it was really, really good. I didn't think it let the original down whatsoever.
I think
One of my entries is a really, really strong sequel.
I really hope it's the sequel that I'm thinking of, because if it is, you're going to earn big points in my book, Colin.
No, we don't know. We don't know yet what it is.
It's Anchorman.
Yeah. So my number 6, I toyed with the idea of not having this one in, but then I decided it's so ingrained in like the jokes I would have with my friends, and it came out at like a similar time of life for me as the characters in the film. It's about 4 lads who had a dream. I'm only joking. 4 lads who went on holiday to Greece, and they were trying to find love in a lot of senses. They fell out. They had a few scraps along the way. They did some questionable things, but it ended quite happily. And the sequel was really bad as well. Maybe not Anchorman 2 level, but not great. My number 6 is the first Inbetweeners movie.
Such a good film.
I forgot about that. That was great. I love that film.
My first holiday abroad was to Zante in 2011 when I think I just turned 20. And they obviously went to, where did they go? Was it Cavos? No, Crete. Malia.
No, Magaluf? No?
No, I think they went to Malia, but it was filmed in Magaluf. It wasn't filmed in where it was set.
Oh, I can remember him saying something, but oh no, it was the dad, wasn't it? He was like, "Oh, we used to go to Magaluf."
Yeah, Paul, we'll cut you off there. I knew
We
you were
all know
going.
what comes next.
We'll cut you off there. So yeah, my number 6 Inbetweeners movie. Me and Paul were very similar ages. Like Inbetweeners season 3 came out when we were in 6th year, so we were literally the same age as them when Inbetweeners was coming out. So
What
I think
year
it
was
was
that?
2008, 9, 8. Well, it came out early on in our. I remember watching it like the winter of our S6. I think it was only 2008. The movie came out in 2011, I think.
I'm not gonna say how old I was when both of those things came out.
So yeah, it does have that. Obviously, you obviously like it as well, but we kind of came out when we were that age, so it had that extra bit as well. So that was my number 6.
Fair, understandable.
Blair, number 5.
Number 5 for me is a very recent film, and it surprised me a lot when I watched it. I didn't really hear about it before it got released, and I found it one day on Netflix, and I stuck it on because it has an actor in it who's really great. There was a lot of action and a lot of laughs, but it was also very heartfelt. And number 5 for me is Free Guy with
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds. It was
I
a
like it.
surprisingly good film. I did not have high expectations with it being like a Netflix original, but it was very good. Very highly rated it and have watched multiple times since. So,
Have you seen it, Paul?
I've still not seen it. No.
oh,
That's
it's
good.
really good.
And it's a really interesting concept as well. How he's like a character in a game, and then
Yeah.
he gains like intelligence. That
Yes.
basically like, there's more to him than just because he's got a
There
really
is
boring
that.
part in the game, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, it's really good. Paul, I would really recommend watching it because it is a very
Yeah.
strong film.
You like
Yeah,
it.
'cause when I seen the trailer for it, I didn't really
Pique your interest.
seem too involved in it because it seemed like a lot going on. And I was kind of like, it just
Right.
looks really messy. But I've
No,
heard a
it's-
lot of good things about it, so I really do need to watch it.
It's one
You
to
could
the
maybe watch it and review it for a future episode.
yeah. Maybe we missed that, but we're I don't know. Well, yeah. I think something we're trying to do is like with Nope coming out, reviewing the ones that Jordan Peele's done before. So maybe try and relate our reviews to what's going on. So like looking at older versions of newer films, not
That's
older
fair.
versions, like. So, but yeah, that is something that I really enjoyed it. So, Paul, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is MacGruber. Please
not
tell
seen
me somebody's seen MacGruber.
I've not seen it.
Nah.
Oh my god! Right, it's amazing. I'll just leave it at that. Did you ever hear about this? There was a TV show back in I think it was the 80s called MacGyver.
Yeah, is that not what Patty and Selma watch in The Simpsons?
Oh,
I think so.
MacGruber that's not is that Leslie Nelson? No.
No,
Am I thinking of something totally different?
I think so, maybe. So basically, this has got Kristen Wiig in it from Bridesmaids.
Yeah, and
It's got
Paul.
Bob Forte, and it's got Ryan Philippe. And basically, he's this kind of legendary kind of guy, and America needs his help. But it turns out he's just a total numpty. But it's like a rip on MacGyver because MacGyver could like make anything out of what he had around him. So like he can make like helicopters out of like tin cans and things like it.
Aye.
Things around him, and so this thing it kind of takes it back a bit, and he tries to make things out of things, and they're just total disasters, and it's so funny. And there's bits that are just totally out there. Val Kilmer's the bad guy in it, and like every second is just like a joke. His name, I can say his name because it's his name, and it's not a bad word. His name is Cunt. So that's the bad guy, and it's just like a play on words like everywhere. And there's a bit in it where he distracts people. His big thing is like he distracts the bad guys by sticking a leek in his bum and then kind of waddling about. And the day he was filming that, the main actor's mum turned up at the studios.
Oh no!
To witness them doing it, and it was
Oh no!
it was like you're just like, oh, what's he doing?
Why are the films that you've seen and other people haven't seen? Why are they always so weird plot wise?
It's not like, see if you watch it, you'll totally understand. It's great. There's like throat rips. I'm pretty sure Terry Crews is in it somewhere.
Oh, I'm sold. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
It's added to my list.
I was really upset, Blair. I forgot to put Brooklyn Nine-Nine on my TV show ranking.
Oh, that's really disappointing.
I was raging because I think I realised it mid recording it. I was like,
Well, if there's one thing you take away from this show, is watch MacGruber, because
Watch
I love
MacGruber.
MacGruber and I want you to love it as much as I love it.
okay,
Well,
thanks.
I will. I'm creating a list of the ones that I've not seen so that I can watch them and see what they're like.
You'll enjoy them, I'm sure. My number 5 has already been mentioned, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, and that sometimes happens as we get nearer the end of the rankings. So my number 5 is Superbad. It's a film I've always really enjoyed, and it's one that me and Mikey watch quite a lot when we're together. But it's not like an absolute top tier comedy one for me. It's not like one of my absolute favorites, but it's just outside it. It's like in the kind of Champions League spots. Just some of the scenes that stood out for me when I was thinking about it was the one when he's in buying the booze, and you think they trick you. It's just like his imagination, and you think something happens, but it doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he like throws like the bottle at the old lady. And the stuff with the 2 police officers as well.
Yeah, they're class.
Seth Rogen's character, and who's the other one?
Thingy Johnson. What's his name? Can't remember his name. Is it Ben Johnson or something like that?
So
He's
yeah,
Jurassic World.
right, okay. Just yeah, as you said earlier, just really funny, lots of quotable lines, and just another. I love that kind of like there'll be the kind of high school kind of college party films. Yeah, they're always good crack. So my number 5 is Superbad. Blair, what's your Champions League spot?
So number 4 for me is a film about family, but it's not about family. It's got I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and it's really frustrating because he's really funny. It's about a
Paul
guy.
Kelly.
What?
Paul Kelly.
Paul Kelly. No, I wish. I feel like he probably could have been quite good in this movie. But it's about a guy who is a drug dealer, and he gets asked to smuggle a smidge of weed across the Mexican border. Yep. So he decides to hire a big RV and people to play his fake family.
Yeah.
So number 4, I've got We're the Millers, which is just incredible. It's so good.
It's in my honorable mentions, but it is one that could have maybe snuck in.
Honestly, like it was just every time I watch it, I find it brilliant. The tarantula scene is just so funny. And the scene where they're singing to the radio in the RV. Yeah, and Kenny just busts out the rap for the waterfalls, and they're all just looking at him, and he's just vibing. Honestly, it's brilliant.
Have you seen it, Paul?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, such a good film.
I only remember Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
that's fair. That scene in the warehouse as well is also incredible.
There's it's funny that they keep. Do they not keep trying to play the Friends theme at one point?
That's a deleted scene. Yeah, they're sitting in the RV, and she obviously doesn't know what song's going to come on, so they put on the Friends theme tune, and she's sitting there on the passenger seat like this.
Yeah. No, yeah. That I sort of wish I maybe put that in my top 10 now, but you kind of just need to commit to something. But it's definitely an honourable mention for me.
Yeah. What is his name though? Because that's annoying me too. Ted Lasso's name. What's his name?
Jason Sudeikis.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
the one.
He plays the stormtrooper, one of the stormtroopers in the Mandalorian that punches Baby Yoda.
Does he?
Uh-huh.
I didn't
I
know
knew
that.
as soon as Blair said that you were going to say that. You know.
Did you?
Should have put money on it, Paul.
Telegraphed. So, Paul, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is.
You always sound really surprised that I'm asking you for your next one, even though you're next on the list.
Usually I'm last and I forget. So my number 4 is a parody on everyone's favourite slasher. I watched it when I was in primary school, so
Special place in your
it's
heart.
probably shaped my life. It's Scary Movie.
I knew that was coming. Scary Movie is a great film, but it's
It
just
is a great film.
it couldn't break the top 10 for me.
Yeah, it's just such a daft movie. It just parodies Scream so well. I actually watched Scary Movie before I watched Scream, and then I watched Scream and I was like, oh my god, this so much makes more sense now. And the characters are brilliant. Officer Doofy.
Oh, so funny. It's the scene where he's in the house and he walks through and he's like holding the Hoover.
Yeah.
You know, like there's not been anything shown, but you know exactly from context what is going on.
Cindy.
I watched that quite recently, actually.
What did you?
Oh,
Yeah.
But not in your top 10, eh?
No. So my number 4, I kind of wish I could put this higher. This is the sequel that I spoke about. I don't quite know what Blair's referring to, but we'll see. The first one is really good. The second one is really good. It really has a toss-up between the two. I think I just preferred this one better because I like the concept a bit better. It's about 2 cops who are polar opposites. Yes, Blair does something.
yes.
And in this one, they go to college, and one of them ends up. Oh, are we talking about something different?
I feel like we're talking about different films. As soon as you said go to college, I lost it.
Take back that back.
But anyway, I'll take it anyway.
I know which
So
one you mean.
2 cops, and in this one of them unwittingly starts seeing Ice Cube's daughter. Ice Cube's in the film. And there's a big beach party. It's just quite ridiculous at times, but it's really funny. It's got good action. And I really hope they do a third one at some point, because at the end of the second one, they spoof loads of potential titles for the third one.
Yeah.
My number 4 is 22 Jump Street.
That is not where I thought you were going with that. But I'm not going to say where I thought you were going with it because it's higher up on my list. But the one I was originally referring to, best movie sequel of all time, changed my mind, Shrek 2. It's just, there's no topping it. It physically cannot be beaten. Banging soundtrack, great message about accepting yourself for the way that you are. You just can't. Giant gingerbread man can't be beaten.
I almost had the first Shrek in my animated films. So what do we think? Have you seen the Jump Street movies? Because if you haven't, you get on it.
I know they are good. I have to say I am more of a fan of the first one. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because I saw the first one first. I mean, that's usually how these things work.
Paul would have done it the opposite way.
Yeah. I usually watch the sequel before the prequel, or the sequel before the original, because I'm an idiot.
I feel like there's a joke I'm missing there.
No, but what's an example? He watched Top Gun, the new one, before the old one, and he did something else recently.
Doctor Sleep Before the Shining.
Doctor Sleep Before the Shining. Yeah.
That must have made no sense.
Got there in the end. It's fine. And then I was like, "Oh, that's what that reference is now." Okay.
Everybody normally watches references. Paul figuring out his references backwards. I'm so smart.
It must be quite interesting for him. Anyway, I just absolutely love the Jump Street movies. I just think they're hilarious, and I really hope they do a third one at some point.
Fair.
Have you seen them, Paul?
I've seen the first one. I loved the first one. The second one, I don't think I've seen the last 20 minutes or something of it. I remember getting so far, and then
He also does this. He watches like 20 minutes of a film.
no, I missed the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
I've seen right up to, I think there's a chase on a beach or something,
Hmm.
and then just as the chase is starting, I either fell asleep or something. I don't know.
Right, you probably fell asleep.
Probably fell asleep. Aye.
Probably what it was. But anyway, before everyone falls asleep, Blair, number 3.
Number 3 for me has already been mentioned in the list, but I figured it needed to be higher up. Number 3 for me is Step Brothers. It's an iconic film, super quotable. Like the whole conversation about touching the drum set. It's like, I know for a fact that Cops doesn't start till 4. It's iconic. And then obviously the Catalina wine mixer, the scene where they're all in the car singing Sweet Child of Mine. It's such a good film, and it's so rewatchable. It's just peak humor.
I know they're good when they get together, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
No, it's a very good pairing, but I think that's just their most iconic. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to top that, no matter how many movies they make.
That in Talladega Nights, I think.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Shake and bake, shake and bake,
shake and bake.
Right, Paul, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Duck, Dip, Dodge, Duck, Dive.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Oh, what a film, by the way. I love this film. I could watch this all day, every day.
I think I remember watching it with you back in the day.
Probably. It's just so good. There's so many good characters in it, and just funny bits. And even when they get to the tournament at the end, Ben Stiller's such a good character. Such a good bad guy. You just want him to feel so much, and you're in Vince Vaughn's corner the whole time. You got like Steve the Pirate. You got the wee cheerleader guy who just is so uncoordinated. It's unreal.
I think that was the first film I watched that had a post-credit scene. Because obviously this was before Marvel and everything, but like the scene in the post-credit, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who's not seen it, but it's brilliant.
Stop
if that's not enough to make people watch it, I don't know what is.
I know. Just watch it for the end credit scene. That's all you want to see it for.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you love Dodgeball, or if you don't love Dodgeball, give that a watch because it's amazing. And it's got loads of wee cameos. It's got that drugs cheat Lance Armstrong. It's got
it's controversial.
Facts, man. Just spitting facts. It's got what's his name? Jason Bateman. It's got Chuck Norris.
Oh, so it does.
It's just got hundreds of people. So yeah, definitely give it a watch if you haven't seen it already. So that's my number 3.
Talking about liking things, I love Lamp. My number 3 is Anchorman.
Too high.
Ironically, Anchorman didn't make it into my top 10 movies, but it's always been one of my favorite comedies. Like, I basically know it word for word. I used to just watch it all the time. Like when we Ali Calendar would come out in Dunoon and stay at mine, we would come in from a night out and watch Anchorman before we went to sleep, and it just really reminds me of a certain like period of my life, like in my early 20s, and just as you said earlier, the cast list, like Will Ferrell, Steve Carell,
Paul Rudd,
and Whammy.
What's his name? I can never remember his name.
Dave Kutcher or something like that.
No.
And Christina Applegate is fantastic in the film as well, and she was in my lead role actresses.
See, it's not easy to say, is it?
Lead role actresses.
Oh yeah, that's a really deep cut from our previous. You'll need to go back and watch our actress ranking.
Fair.
You'll get the joke. So yeah, Anchorman always been one of my favorite comedies. Anchorman 2 is an abomination, but Anchorman 1, the first one is classic.
That's fair.
Afternoon Delight's a great tune as well.
That's fair.
I won't sing it. Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight. And then it goes on. Rubbing sticks and stone together, make them fun. Anyway, okay. Blair number 2.
Number 2 for me was the movie that I thought you were going with about the two cops. One in a trilogy, the second of the trilogy, and the best in the trilogy, in my opinion. Has two very familiar actors about two cops. One's a big city cop, one's a small town cop.
I know what it is.
Aye, Hot Fuzz. It is an incredible film. So good.
It will seem like a big omission from me because I had it as my favourite in my movie ranking. My reason for not including it was I don't really view it. I went for more just like pure comedy, whereas this for me is like the kind of police parody, but it's also like an action film and like a murder mystery. So I didn't personally view it as just a pure comedy, and that's why, spoilers, I haven't included it. But
Colin, how many times do you laugh watching this movie?
All the time.
How many times did I laugh?
Yeah.
Is this a joke in itself?
No. Do you laugh a
Like,
lot
how many
watching
times
this
do you laugh watching Hot Fuzz?
Do you find it funny?
All right, okay, I get what you're doing now. I do find it funny, but when I was doing my ranking, I went for more kind of pure comedy.
I do get it, because the case could be argued that it's not just like a comedy film, because it's got obviously the action element, the thriller element of, and it's quite gory as well, especially for like an action film.
Yeah.
But I find it really funny, and I had to include it because it's one of my top movies. And whenever I tell anyone that it's the best of the Cornetto trilogy, they always try and fight me on that. I'm like, no.
It's by far the best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not as big a Shaun of the Dead fan as others. It's not. I think it's good. I think the first half of The World's End's my next favorite.
Yeah,
I never really took to The World's End.
It's all right. It's watchable, rewatchable. I don't know. I feel like if you watched it enough times, you could get sick of it. But Hot Fuzz is just very quotable as well.
I've never been to Bishop's Gardens.
No luck catching them swans in.
There's Nicholas Angel. Take a look at his arse.
Steve Mission.
What?
Oh, Tim Messenger.
Oh, you Tim Messenger.
I remember the day I bought that film. I was ironically, because in the movie there's a Summerfield and there's a bargain bin DVD box, and there's a Spanish version of Shaun of the Dead, and ironically I bought it in like a bargain bin in Blockbusters.
Nice.
And
I thought you were going to say, like, obviously the Morrisons in Dunoon used to be a Summerfield.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say
it was at the time. And Paul worked there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I worked there. I was like, I work there.
Does Summerfield still exist, like in other places?
I think it's like a wee chain, like kind of R.S. McCall's or something. Like it's just a name in itself. It's not an actual. I think it's an offshoot of Morrison's.
Right. Okay. So that was Blair's second.
Yes, that was my number 2.
Paul's second. We need now.
My number 2 features a lot of country bumpkins, a lot of weird names, some sea moines.
Like,
I've also went for Hot Fuzz.
that's awesome.
It's funny that I'm the only one that didn't go for it.
I know, he's such a weirdo.
Ouch.
But yeah, what such a good film. There's so many quick, witty cuts. The jokes kind of intertwine with each other. They all come in later on as well. A lot of visual jokes. Just a really, really clever film. Really clever jokes in it, and I loves it. I loves it lots.
I think one of the parts that works really well as well is when like Nick Frost is just really excited to be there, and he like explains some of the jokes. I find that really funny. It's like when he's leaving the theater and he's like, "Drive safe." He's like, "God, that's the guy we just did for speeding." Like just how he's so buzzing to be involved. It's just like it's almost as if like we're going along on that with him. It's great, such a good film. I could talk about it for ages, and I'm just gonna stop there because I will.
I've got a fun wee inside joke, like you know how the two options for the films were Bad Boys 2 and Point Break.
Yeah,
I've got both of those films on DVD, and I've never watched either of them. And it's a running joke that I've got a wee pile of DVDs at Elaine's house that I take over. So like I'll occasionally bring over a wee selection, and we'll just watch them. And it's a running joke, that because Jordan likes Hot Fuzz as well, that I'll just be they're just like at the bottom of the pile, and every so often I'll go, which one do you want to watch? But we just never watch them. Like, as far as I'm aware, particularly Point Break is meant to be a really good film, but I actually can't bring myself to watch it because it's just this butt of this joke that I don't want to break.
Yeah. But I hadn't seen Point Break until very recently. What an incredible film, by the way. I did not have high expectations going into it. Not the new one, the 2016 one is awful, but the original Point Break with Keanu Reeves, incredible.
Is it worth ruining the end joke for?
Yes,
I would say so.
Even Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2 is good.
Bad Boys 2 is also a really good film, but Point Break is just one of those films, like, became an instant classic as soon as I watched it.
Bad Boys for life.
Yeah, Bad Boys 2, Humvees through favelas, amazing.
We've broke the hour mark, as we sometimes do when we get guests on, so we'll need to crack on. My number 2 isn't a number 2. It's actually a number 4, and it's about a group of friends who, in the past, went through a kind of rite of passage. They went to some parties. They had 2 sequels that I didn't think were as good. They came back together for a high school reunion, and it is so heartfelt, so funny, really makes you think about kind of growing older, and that's probably why it resonated about when it came out. And I did a poll for this one. I've never really admitted this one on air. I actually saw this before I saw the original 3. My number 2 is American Pie, The Reunion.
I haven't seen it.
You've not seen American Pie, The Reunion?
I've seen every other American Pie film. It's the only American Pie film that I haven't seen. So
put it on your list. It's a belter.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna.
Paul?
Love it.
I had this on my. It was on my movie ranking as well. There is a few that overlap there. It's just Stifler's great in it. It's a good twist that it's shown them when they're older, but they're also like they're not really changed that much. And there's like a couple of characters that used to go out that start kind of seeing each other again, that kind of thing as well.
But character chemistry.
I didn't say who it was. So yeah,
good callbacks in that as well.
That was one of the things when I said when we're doing this, maybe just have one from like a franchise, which I forgot to say to Blair. Sorry, I wasn't making that noise at Blair. I made it at my cat. So yeah, I wanted to. I mean, the first American Pie is amazing as well. I don't think the second and third are as good. They're not bad, but I think the first one and The Reunion are my favourites.
That's fair.
So Paul, no, Paul's already done his number 2. So Blair, this is your numero uno.
Number 1. So this one is very nostalgia filled for me. I watched this with my dad quite a bit when I was growing up. I used to have a wee iPod shuffle. It had 2 films on it. One of them was Despicable Me, and the other one was this one. Instant classic comedy.
Sorry to interrupt there, Blair, but you could have. I don't remember there have been films on iPods.
Yeah, it used to be like it was like a really like slim iPod. It was like blue. Was it an iPod Nano maybe? Instead of an iPod Shuffle? It was probably an iPod Nano.
See, when we were younger, Colin, iPods were a lot simpler.
Yeah. I remember getting the first iPod, yeah.
But you could download movies from iTunes onto it, and I used to sit and watch it on a screen that was probably about like this big. It was tiny. But
Colin, I was going to tell us a really nice story about him and his dad watching movies, and you totally butted in there about an iPod.
No, I didn't. I wanted to be able to relate better to the story.
It's okay, don't worry. But me and my dad used to watch this film a lot. It's an instant classic comedy film, and I think it's one of the best. I was stuck between this one and another one, but I've gone for Monty Python and the Holy Grail purely for nostalgia factor because I used to watch it with my dad. But Life of Brian was also like a top contender. But yeah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, in my opinion, best comedy film of all time. So quotable, so rewatchable, and just like even after all like these years of it being out, it still holds up every time I watch it.
Not seen it.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh,
That's one of these things I've actually never came across it on TV or on like streaming services like that.
Oh, that is heartbreaking.
I know.
That's really heartbreaking.
I've heard people quote it to like which one is it with the knight and he gets his like arms cut off and that? Is that the Holy Grail?
That's Holy Grail. He gets both of his arms chopped off and he's like, "'Tis but a flesh wound." While he's walking around with like no arms. Oh.
I've seen does it get like both his arms like a leg cut off or something? He's just hopping about on one leg.
Aye. Oh, it's brilliant. It's great entertainment. Such a good film, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Well, I've got a funny feeling we might have the same number one because if I'm the only one that mentions this film out of all three of us, that's a bit weird. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean,
do you want to do a 1, 2, 3 and we'll reveal?
No, because I think I know what yours is, and I think it's the same as mine.
It's weird that you haven't included this then.
Is it though?
Do you want to do a 1, 2, 3 and we'll say what ours are? Just in case.
Right, okay.
You're going to do something random, aren't you?
No.
3, 2, 1.
The Hangover.
Anchorman.
Oh, I know it's not that. So,
but also not The Hangover.
So The Hangover wasn't in your top 10.
An honorable mention.
Nah, it's not even an honorable mention for me. I haven't seen The Hangover.
You haven't seen The Hangover?
No. It's one of those
right,
films I never watched.
Write that down on your list.
Okay.
And capitals.
Yeah. Put it under MacGruber.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought The Hangover would have cracked your top 10, Paul.
I was thinking about it, but the other ones just kind of nudged it out. The more I did it, it kind of got further and further up. But my number one is The Vacation.
Oh, that's funny because I put that in my honorable mentions and I knew you would pick it.
Yeah, I love this film. It's one of these films that I don't think I've ever laughed so much in my life as watching this. Have you seen it, Blair?
Give me a brief rundown of what it is. It's not ringing any bells at the moment.
It's got Ed Helms and Christina Applegate in it. You know Ed Helms from The Office and The Hangover.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen The Hangover.
I've seen The Hangover.
I know. I feel like I know who you mean. I don't think I have seen it. I feel like I'd remember if I'd seen it. If you found it this funny.
So basically, Ed Helms is like a budget airline pilot. He's got a really boring job, and his family's dead bored, and they're just like sick of each other. So he has this big elaborate plan to take him to Wally's World, where he used to go as kids, which is like a theme park across the country.
Okay.
And this is like a reboot of National Lampoon's Vacation.
Okay.
So basically, they go across the country, but they get this. It was like Labor Day weekend or something like that, 4th of July weekend, and they can't get a decent rental car, so they get like this Lithuanian Prius with about 1 million buttons on it, and they don't know what any of it does, and it just kind of causes havoc from there. And they stop off at all these different places, and everything just goes from bad to worse. We've got loads of different cameos in it. It's got the wee guy from Horrible Bosses, and what's it called? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's got that wee guy in it.
Danny DeVito.
Well, the guy that owns Wrexham with Ryan Reynolds.
No, the wee guy.
Danny DeVito.
No.
What other wee guy is there? Charlie? No.
Maybe Charlie. And Horrible Bosses. You know the wee guy that's going to the dentist.
Hold on.
The guy's got a really high pitched voice. I think he's in Pacific Rim as well.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
But
Charlie
basically,
Day? Is that it?
it might be. Aye, Charlie Day. Yeah, him. So it's got him.
Right, okay, I know who you mean now.
Another guy.
what is it?
Yeah.
Got Chris Hemsworth. It's got Norman Reedus. It's got Chevy Chase. It's got a bunch of different people in it. And
Oh,
like,
Pierce.
was that
Pierce.
Pierce? Yes, from Community.
Pierce Hawthorne. Streets Ahead.
And it's so funny. They're just so like the kids are hilarious. Like the wee kid plays the older kid, and it's just so funny. And there's just so many awkward moments and like cheesy moments and bits where you just cringe watching it, and it's just great. I love it. So my number one is Invitation.
I've seen trailers for this. I've not
You
seen
should
it.
You should watch it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Talking about things that people cringe while watching, a good time to plug our podcast. So, Seismic Cinema, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as Seismic Cinema. You can watch us on YouTube, and please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible. I sounded like a proper advert there.
That did sound like a pre-recorded ad. That was impressive.
Yeah, I probably missed something out like I always do. So yeah, my number one was The Hangover. When I thought about this, I was like, what's really funny and what is something that I just find so easy to rewatch and could always rewatch, and just I know they did 2 sequels. The second Hangover is really good. This third one's not bad. It's just not as good. But just the concept of I'll give you the concept, Blair. I'm really surprised you've not seen this, if I'm honest. That they go on a stag do to Vegas, and then one of the group goes missing on the first night, and the movie is them basically trying to piece together what they did that night because they can't remember anything at all because they got drugged. So they're trying to piece everything back together, but it's just so funny, like so quotable again. There's a tiger in the bathroom.
Yeah, there's just so much random stuff to it. There's just like I don't know how somebody thought of all the different stuff that happened to them, and they come across so many different characters, don't they? And it's just a madcap of a movie.
That's fair.
You know,
I think the only thing I know about The Hangover is Zach Galifianakis does that Between the Ferns podcast thing where he just roasts people, and he had Barack Obama on it once. And he said to Barack Obama, he was like, are you not like upset you can't run for a third term? And he was like, no, because that would be like making a third Hangover movie. It's not a really good idea, is it? I was like, oh, okay, so the third Hangover movie must not be great.
It's not bad. It's not like a really terrible sequel, I would say, but you should definitely check out the first Hangover. And if you like the first one, watch the second one because it is really fun. And just there's the running joke about Stu being a dentist and not a doctor. It's good as well. And Sheila Sass in it from Suits.
Oh, from Suits. Okay, right. I love it when actors are in other things. Like that also makes me happy.
She is not a nice lady.
You're not a nice lady.
And then what's his name? What's his name in Community? Leslie Chow.
Leslie Chow. You know
Chang.
That actor plays him in this as well.
Ah, nice.
He's like quite a big character. So yeah, that's my number one, and that rounds off our rankings. So Blair, do you want to share any honorable mentions you had?
Yes. So my honorable mentions. I have 5 honorable mentions.
Okay.
Which I feel like it's quite a lot, but I couldn't fit everything I liked in the list. So
I usually have like 20, so don't worry.
Anchorman was an honorable mention because it's great. Happy Gilmore, great
good
film.
One.
Not seen it.
You've not seen it? Oh, I would recommend watching it again.
I'll check it out during the holidays.
Yeah, highly quotable film. I think it was in that phase where Adam Sandler was making like good movies and wasn't just doing movies to make money.
Hustle.
I've not seen Hustle yet. I'm nervous to watch Hustle.
Oh,
good.
Hustle was an
We
amazing
liked
movie.
it, and we also did a review of it.
Okay. Well, I don't like to watch reviews for movies I haven't seen.
What's
So
the movie?
That's
I'll
probably
watch
wise.
the movie and then I'll watch the review.
No.
So
Hustle
yeah.
was spot on.
Okay. I give that's also added to the list now. Wayne's World, great film. Feel like slightly underrated. It's not amazing, but it's very rewatchable. And again, just like, yeah. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I watched that for the first time quite recently.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that surprised me. And then the last one, just purely for nostalgia, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. Cracking film. So good.
What about you, Paul? Did you have any honourable mentions?
So I had Hangover, We're the Millers, White Chicks.
Oh, what a film.
Oh yeah. It's just Terry Crews jiving.
And I need you. And I miss you.
Did the moment pass?
This has got weird. Wedding Crashers.
Nice. Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. Project X.
I've seen that, yeah.
21 and Over.
Nice.
Seen that, yeah.
I had 21 Jump Street. I had Internship. Had Talladega Nights. And had Zoolander.
Nice.
Just because you got, I'm not an ambi-turner. I can't turn left.
I totally forgot one of my honorable mentions because I didn't write it down and it just came back there. But Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah. See, when you're talking about Wayne's World, I was like,
Austin Powers.
Myers.
Yep. Just great. I think my favorite Austin Powers scene is the one where he gets unfrozen. I don't know if it's in that film, but he gets unfrozen and he's standing at the urinal for literally like 5 minutes. And it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And like it shouldn't be funny, but it's brilliant.
As usual, I've got a big list, but I'll rattle through it. I like to have a big list here. 21 Jump Street, because I couldn't include it. American Pie 1. Mean Girls, as per my screen name, Regina George. I watched that for the first time like last year, and I love it. Borat, I really wanted to put Borat in my top 10, but I felt like it was a bit controversial to describe or discuss, so I just put it in my honorable mentions. But it's hilarious.
Kazakhstan man discovers America. What's wrong with that?
I had it's more the content of it than anything else. Step Brothers is on my honorable mentions. I do like it. I don't like it as much as Anchorman. That's why it's not in my top one. Someone mentioned it. I don't know if you just mentioned it there, but Bad Neighbors.
I didn't mention it.
I didn't mention it. Nobody mentioned it.
It's Zac Efron
and Rose Byrne.
Yeah, and what's his name? Seth. No.
McLovin's in it.
Seth Rogen. Yeah.
McLovin's in it as well.
Yeah. Again, a great film.
It's got a sequel, and they're both pretty good. I put Paul in here.
Oh, Paul is a great film.
Elf.
Paul is a great guy. Did you say Elf?
Elf. It's a comedy, I would say.
I know, but it's just so overplayed.
Ted. Nobody mentioned Ted.
Ted is a good film. I'll give you Ted.
We're the Millers. The Vacation. Yep. Knocked Up.
I forgot about Knocked Up. Yeah.
The Dictator. Another one of Sacha Baron Cohen's. Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh yeah.
What does that say? I cannot. Oh, Dodgeball.
Yep.
Groundhog Day.
Yep.
And Horrible Bosses, because Paul mentioned it because of the actor out of Horrible Bosses, but that's actually a pretty good movie in itself.
Oh, I've got two. I forgot about it as well. Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Old School.
Colin reminded me of another one, the interview with James Franco and Seth Rogen when they go and
I've not seen that.
interviewing.
North Korea.
Yeah, they interview Kim Jong Un in North Korea. It's great. It's very features very heavily in the soundtrack with Katy Perry, and it's brilliant. Baby, you're the
Oh, did you have any questions for Blair? Do we sometimes do wee quick fire random questions at the end? No.
Right. Okay.
No, you don't need, if you've not got any, we're an hour and 20 minutes. You don't need to make them up.
Favorite music out of any of your top 10 movies in that list?
Oh, that's a good. Oh, School of Rock. It's got to be, hasn't it?
Has to be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Aye.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, the music in the other films are great. I think the music in Hot Fuzz and Step Brothers is just, but School of Rock is just iconic. Yeah, can't top that.
So a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, for sure.
It is indeed.
That a good place to end it then?
No.
No.
Let's end it anyway.
Blair, we always ask, and if you don't know it, don't panic. Do you know what our slogan is?
No.
Paulie's not doing his research.
It's the power of funny ha-has.
It's the power of escapism.
Power of what?
Escapism.
Okay, the power of escapism. I will remember that.
Don't make me say it a third time.
What was it again?
No.
No.
We've really enjoyed having you on, and hopefully you've enjoyed yourself as well. An hour and a half out of your evening, and if you're up for it, we're definitely keen to have you on again.
Absolutely, anytime you need.
And because previous Neil Boyle thought as soon as I clicked end broadcast, he just disappeared. But we usually just end the broadcast and then we can just have a wee chat before you go.
I know.
So that's us. So thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
No worries.
See you next time. Cheers.